Hi, everyone. This is Act 2, so it's slightly different from the way we often do these post-performance discussions, because right away we want to involve you in the conversation. So let's see, we're going to start on this side. Who has a question on this side of the house?
Hi. I also wanted to say that was really amazingly beautiful, just the athleticism and the stories that you told. So before I ask my question, I wanted to say thank you. That was amazing. But also, just because it felt like you did a lot of sort of history in the first part, I wondered what your thoughts were when something becomes appropriation versus sort of an homage versus evolution of dance and art in general, and if you maybe wanted to talk about that a little bit.
I think that's why I tell my stories, because no one can tell it like you can. And African American culture has been stripped and sometimes muted and erased, but our blood memory keeps us alive and keeps us going, and that's what I try to focus on. Cultural appropriation has been happening since the beginning of time, but what also needs to happen is Black people, people of color, continuing to tell their stories through an authentic lens. So that's what I think.
Can I know the story between the human with the awesome afro and the human with the braids?
What do you think the story is?
Friendship or siblings, or definitely close relations, and the push and pull of agreement and unity, and then separation and the need to develop yourself. But I also noticed a lot of, at least in my experience, a sense of colorism in a way. Well, at least that's something that I took from it, and I just wanted to know.
I think you nailed it.
Okay.
I'm Chloe Davis, and Beatrice and I, we are siblings, and so a lot of you had that question, huh? We're siblings, and I'm the oldest, and Beatrice is my youngest, and the younger sister, and but there is always a friendship within sisterhood, I believe. So, the friendship is also there, but it's just kind of like when my character, I am going through that time of development, how a young girl starts to, grow breasts and realize that she has them. And so just exploring her body, but in a very innocent type of way. And I think we all can relate to that, women here. And Beatrice hasn't gotten there yet, but she wants to do what her big sister does, right? And she wants the attention of her big sister. And sometimes, doesn't happen like that. And I go through the evolution of, saying, whatever, get out of my space. But then when I realize that I hurt her feelings, I have to figure out how I can mend that in a very young way. Like, how does a young person apologize, And so that's my journey with my beautiful younger sister.
Hi, I'm Beatrice. So yes, this is definitely a lot of growing stages. It's like when you're watching TV, and then what the TV kind of pretty much changes the way that, if let's say you're watching, I don't know, Beyonce video, and then you want to pretty much be Beyonce at a young age. And then from there, it's, you keep on, evolving and evolving. And yes, like Chloe was saying, I'm trying to get Chloe's attention. And then at the same time, it's like when things just kind of go wrong, which actually reminds me of myself, and I always talk about this, myself and my cousin. Just growing up, we would always, of course, have a good time and have fun on the playground, but then at the same time, also just argue. You know, I mean, these are things that you just, in every childhood you have, in sisterhood, cousins, or, you know, just family, you just go through those, you know, and then you make up, you know. So then that's one of the things that even Camille wanted to bring that arc of that play, and then all of a sudden things just kind of go wrong. But then what happens when you just like don't let each other go at all, you know, because we are, of course, like sisters, you know. So there's just so many different evolutions and different arcs in just like playtime, fighting, making up, vulnerability. So yeah.
In terms of colorism, that wasn't really something that I wanted to put in there, but I do realize that because Beatrice has darker skin than Chloe, then that is going to come up, but these parts should be interchangeable. It was important for me to create a space of innocence for Black women, Black girls. Studies show that Black girls are looked at 5 years older than they actually really are. So I wanted to place a Black girl in a place where she could get to know her body without being called a prostitute or fast, something that we have been called without the chalkboard, without the idea of play. People have said, oh, you're in jail, Beatrice was on drugs, prostitute, you know, and people think, oh my gosh, that's so crazy that people can even think that. But if we look at politics and where we are today, audaciousness isn't that foreign to us anymore. So I think it's important for us to realize where we are and how we really see each other.
Well, I was just going to say something in terms of, you know, colorism. You know, when I was younger, I never saw color. You know, so actually in this duet, I'm not thinking, oh, okay, you know, she's lighter than me, so therefore I kind of want to be her. You know, so it was never that. But it's, you know, it's definitely, you know, one of those things that could be interpreted in many different ways. But you know, that was never something that I thought of.
Camille, you in this performance, you've made the choice to be the first character we see, and then also have a new role as a kind of older character. And could you say something about what that's like for you to embody these two really different personalities in this work?
Yes, well, I didn't make the choice. Actually, the company made the choice. I originally just do the first part, and Kat and I jump off, that's it for me. But this was originally had 6 people, 6 women in the work. And one time I had to step in for one of the tours, and Scott was the first person to say, you should do that part. And I was like, no, I don't want to do it. I'm so tired, I can't. And so the other women said, no, you should do that part. So we took a vote, and I lost. But just thinking about it, I mean, it does make sense for me to grow up as a child, but then care for my own child. And I think it stretched me because as a dancer in other companies, because I'm small and because I look young, I was never put in the mother figure. I was always the little sister or daughter, someone young. So for me to step in and have to portray a mother was something that I've actually never had to do. So I had to tap into my grandmother's energy and my mother's energy for that. And it actually informed how loose and how free and more childlike I can become in the beginning.
Camille, so much of you is obviously in this piece, but how much of the other dancers were allowed to interpret your work and your idea and your journey?
Oh, they're doing it.
So a lot of it is their improvisation or your choreography?
All of it is choreographed.
By you?
Yes.
By them?
Yes, we generate the movement together. We generate the gestures, and then because of their brilliance, they put in their choices, and then we really work and I guide them and direct them. But everything from stomp, 1, 2, they start, everything is cued. I think because everything looks like so in their bodies that people automatically think, oh, they must be improvising.
So, I think her question is also like
I'm sorry.
about invention a character invention,
Oh,
like
yeah.
invented childhoods or reconstructed
Oh,
childhoods.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Thank
sorry.
you, Maura.
So,
no, I wanted to know what they brought
everything.
to the process because so much of them.
Yes.
I mean, I know your style and I've seen it and it's just magnificent to watch, and you have such a stamp. I mean, it's clear. It's Camille, but these young ladies were really quite articulate. In
So I'm answering the question.
Okay.
So everything, they gave all of themselves. What you see on stage is their depiction of my movement. I can't dance the choices that they make, you know, so it's a world that I just invite them to play with, and I guide them along the way, but that's something that I can't take credit for. That's something that they do. So they're the reason why I'm actually continuing 2 years later doing this piece, because of the work that they've put into this piece, along with the musicians.
I'm Kat. I just wanted to add on, piggyback. But a lot of the movement that you see is a derivative of African movement, especially between Camille and I. So this is something that we were brought up in. This is not something that you learn in the class. This is part of the culture. So at 6 or 7 years old, or even younger, you're doing hand games, you're rhyming, you're doing math. So this is not something that Camille came into the studio and said, all right, I want you to stomp 2 times, and yeah, you know, it's within our DNA. So when we come into the studio, she wants us to bring something, contribute to the work, but it also has to be, authentic, and it has to be who we are. So.
Who is the artist that drew that painting there, or the drawing?
Chloe, Teneise, Kat, Beatrice, me, we all did that. So in the beginning of this creative process, I would ask the audience before we showed it, when you hear the phrase black girl, what comes to mind? And one of my dramaturgs, which is a coach that helps guide you through creation of works, said to me, you know, you always ask the audience, but why don't you ask yourselves, when you think of the phrase black girl, what comes to mind? So we put up all of those things up here. So we all did that.
My name is Teneise. My process was a lot different because I was not a part of the original cast, and I was kind of thrown into the situation, and so I missed out on that nitty-gritty, you know, process. But my character being the child, much like Camille was saying, how it helped her grow as far as turning into the older character versus her younger character. I am a mother. I have a 2-year-old, almost 3-year-old child, so I had to change my mind because I'm used to being the mother role. Especially in dance as well. You know, I'm tall. Everything about me is nurturing, and you know that is me. So it was definitely very difficult for me. I had to kind of observe my child, and Camille would say things like, "Picture, what would your daughter do? How would she pick that up? How would she react to this?" So that's the way I had to approach this work. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that beautiful work. I was at your interview earlier, and you made a comment over on where is it?
At the Pillow Talk, yeah.
Yes, the Pillow Talk. And you made a comment about, trying to recall exactly what you said. It was about thinking in terms of what you want the audience to feel. And I wasn't sure exactly what that meant when you made the comment. But I'll tell you what I felt as I watched this. I felt that these beautiful girls who were depicted in this play, these tremendously talented and spirited young ladies, hopefully would have the potential in this world to realize everything that they should. And I thought that was a beautiful feeling that carried me throughout the play. And at no time did I feel that they were ever 5 years older than they were. I felt that they were young, spirited, beautiful girls.
Thank you. That's exactly what I wanted you to feel. I can't say that I believed in myself enough that I thought I was able to do it. I had a very hard time creating this work because I wanted it to be for black girls everywhere. And that is a large thing, it's a large task. But I knew how I wanted to feel, and I know how I wanted these girls to feel and me to feel. So it's really, for me, it's a gift to myself because I had to remind myself what my childhood is like. Even though you didn't see people depicted as 5 years older, that's actually the truth and what happens in society. you know, and unfortunately I have to live against the angry black female and the strong black female constantly. So it's really about placing girls, black girls, in a space of humanity and joy. And universal too. I wanted this to be something that had a duality. I wanted it to be culturally specific, but I also wanted it to be universal too. So people can't say, oh, well, I don't know that, I can't relate to that. This is about friendship, this is about relationships, camaraderie, motherhood, sisterhood, and the only thing that you might, I think what trips people up is the title. And I knew that. People think that this is a political piece. For me, it's not a political piece. What makes it political is the fact that I named it Black Girl Linguistic Play. Doing so, I knew that there would be people that would look into the program or look at whatever and see it and decide that they wouldn't go to the show. And I actually had someone come up to me and say they were really happy that they came to the show, but out of all of the shows that were coming in the entire series for another venue, that my show was the one that they didn't want to go to because of the title.
But you knew that. You knew that.
I knew that, but to hear it is a different thing. And it hurt. And it still continues to hurt. But I don't regret naming it Black Girl Linguistic Play. That's probably one of the out of all of this, many decisions that I've had to make, that's one decision that I'm really proud that I stuck with.